What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the show. So I want to talk about this race in Ohio. I want to talk about the Senate race. Sherrod Brown, Houston. Who do we think is going to win? Emerson College just put out a poll. We're going to take a look at that polling, and you might be shocked at the results and where we are right now when it comes to this race. Remember, Sherrod Brown, he lost in 2024, and now he's running pretty neck and neck with Houston. So that's what we're going to focus on in this video. But first off, let me tell you a little bit about me, my background. I have a political science degree, over 15 years working in political campaigns. And in this video, we're going to focus on real data, real trends, and what that means for the 2026 midterm election. If that sounds like something interesting to you, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with your family and friends. Okay, so let's take a look. This is a special election. Houston replaced J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance now is the vice president. Obviously, everyone knows that. And so you have Houston in there right now, and he's running as an incumbent because he's in office right now. But he's running against Sherrod Brown. Okay, so right now, Emerson polling is showing us Sherrod Brown at 46 and then Houston at 49. Now, when we look at, and this is important to always look at this, look at the sample size. So we have this conducted between December 6th and December 8th. We have 850 registered voters. Margin of error, this is important. The margin of error is 3.3%. So what does that mean? That means this falls within the margin of error, 46 to 49. So that could mean that Sherrod Brown could have a slight advantage. He could be 49.3%. Or Houston could be well over, he could be 52%. And so essentially what we're looking at right now is we're looking at a toss-up. Even though it says 46-49 within that margin of error, we're looking at a toss-up. And so Sherrod Brown is challenging an incumbent, okay, someone who is currently in office. Usually the incumbent does have an advantage. Even though he didn't serve a full 6 years, he still has an advantage coming in as an incumbent. Now let's break this polling down a little bit more. So we're going to compare this information that we're getting in December to what we saw in August, okay? And this is a change here. And so right now we see Sherrod Brown at 46%, we see Houston at 49%, and then undecided at 5%. In August, we saw Sherrod Brown at 44%, we saw undecided at 7%, and we saw Houston at 50%. And so we see Houston lost a point here, and then Sherrod Brown actually gained 2 points. And so the undecideds have changed just a little bit. So you have less undecideds than you did back in August. So this is good news for Sherrod Brown, the Democrat, because now it looks like he's gaining a little bit of steam on Houston. Okay, let's break this down even more. So looking at and here's the question. It says, if the 2026 election for U.S. Senate were held today and the candidates were Democrat Sherrod Brown and Republican John Houston, who would you vote for at this time? Okay, they break it down so you see exactly how many. So we had a total of 815 registered voters that participated. Democrat Sherrod Brown, 394 votes, and that comes to 46.3%. Republican John Houston, 415 votes, and that came to 48.8%. And what they do is they just round this up or round it down. So that's why the numbers are solid. So you have 49 to 46. Undecided, you had 42 votes, 4.9%. That gives us 100% there. And so that gives us a better breakdown so we can see exactly what's going on. Let's look at favorable, unfavorable. We're just going to look at Sherrod Brown and Houston. So Sherrod Brown right now, 43% favorable, 13% unsure, never heard of, and then you have 44% unfavorable. John Houston, 30% favorable, and then look at unsure. Unsure is 38%. And so obviously Houston's only been in office for a short period of time, so people don't really know who he is. But once he's on the ballot, people will know, or as it gets closer to the 2026 midterms, people will find out more about him. But right now, 38% of people don't even know who he is. They're unsure. And then unfavorable, you have 32%. And so he's underwater when it comes to favorable, unfavorable. And then Sherrod Brown is also underwater when it comes to favorable, unfavorable, because he's at 44 unfavorable and his favorables are 43%. Now, the last thing that I want to take a look at is I want to take a look at how do people in Ohio feel, what's the most important issue in Ohio? Okay, and so this is the question. This is Emerson again. They asked, what do you think is the most important issue facing Ohio? So looking at the first one here, you had 94 people vote, and they said that healthcare was the most important issue. So that was 11%. Education, you had 56 people say that education was the most important. That's 6.6%. The economy, 374 people said the economy. So we're talking about jobs, inflation, taxes. That is the most important issue. 44%. Crime. 26 people voted to say crime was the number one issue. 3.1%. Immigration. 69 people said immigration was the most important issue. 8.1%. Housing and affordability. 74 people said housing and affordability is an important issue or is the most important issue. 8.7%. Abortion access. 4 people said that was the most important issue. 0.5%. Threats to democracy. 109 people said that was the most important issue. 12.9%. Foreign policy. That's 0 there. And then we're talking about something else. You had 42 people said that something else was the most important issue, and that was 5%. So if we just look at this really quickly, we see threats to democracy, that's 109. We see immigration at 69. We see housing and affordability, but the number one issue is the economy. It's the economy. So inflation, things like that. So if Sherrod Brown is looking at this, he should be focused on, if I were him, I'd be focusing on healthcare because that is a major issue right now. And we're going to see more and more talk about this because we're going to see those HCA premiums go up because those credits have expired. So people are now going to be paying more for healthcare coverage. Not everyone, but people who fall under HCA. But the news is that we're going to hear more and more of that talk. And so Sherrod Brown needs to be out there saying, look, I want to extend these credits. I want to keep HCA or Obamacare. I want to keep that going. And so he can be on that side. Now, Husted, what is Husted going to say? And how is he going to handle this? How is he going to handle it in Congress? Because he is a current sitting senator. So what is he? Is he going to vote for extending the credits? If he doesn't vote for extending these credits, could that impact him? So that's one issue. Looking at the economy, obviously, if the economy doesn't turn around, if people don't feel it, because you can say all you want, the economy's doing great. You have the president out there saying prices are coming down and all this stuff, which the reality is they're really not because people don't feel it. People are still going to the grocery store and they're spending the same amount that they were spending, actually more, 3% more. If you want to look at the data, 3% more than what they were spending last year. And so people don't feel that the economy is better. So how is Husted going to play that? How is he going to defend that record? Then when we start looking at some of the other issues here, housing and affordability, this has always been an issue and people are concerned about that. So these are areas where Sherrod Brown can jump in and say, look, this is what I want to do to fix these areas. Threats to democracy. This is something else. Sherrod Brown can get out there and say, look, we have a president that's rogue, president doing this, president doing that. Congress isn't playing a role because right now, let's face it, we see a lot of executive orders. We don't see Congress really playing a role. Congress isn't out there saying, look, you can't do this, Mr. President. You can't just impose these tariffs and say that this is an emergency. This is really our job. So when we're seeing that, we're seeing Congress inactive. People are going to look at that and they're going to be very upset. And some of that concern and anger can go to Husted because he is a sitting senator. And that's probably why we're seeing this race close because let's face it, Ohio is a red state. But Sherrod Brown has won in this state before. He's a Democrat. He's won in the state before. But that's why we're probably seeing it so close because the economy is not doing well. You have Republicans running Congress. You have the Republican president and people are saying, you know what? We need some checks and balances because we're not getting any. The president is able to do whatever he wants, and Congress is not doing anything to check him. And so some people might not be comfortable with that. And then when you throw in some of the other issues that we've seen when it comes to tariffs, we see farmers right now struggling in Ohio. Will we see some backlash from that? I know farmers will be getting some aid in February. Will that aid be enough? You have a lot of farmers out there saying right now, look, we don't want the aid. We just want the business. And they've lost a lot of business as a result of tariffs because you have China saying, look, we're not going to play ball with you anymore. We're going to buy soybeans from Argentina. We're going to buy soybeans from Brazil. And if we have a little bit of money left over, maybe we'll buy a little bit from you. And that's what we saw this year. China held out and they weren't buying soybeans from us at all. And farmers struggled as a result of that. And then our current administration worked out a little bit of a deal where China did buy some soybeans from it, but they didn't buy as much soybeans as they bought the year prior. And so now you have farmers that are going to be getting aid when really they just want the customers. And they're going to need the customers in the future because we can't just keep giving farmers aid. At some point, they're going to need to have customers because if we're just giving them aid, then there's no business there. All we're doing is our tax dollars are going to help them out. For how long? When are they going to be able to get China back in there buying soybean the way that they were buying soybeans before? So that is a major issue as well. So we're going to have to see how this race plays out. But right now, it's a toss-up. And this Emerson polling is showing Husted ahead. But we just saw a poll just a few weeks ago that showed Sherrod Brown ahead by 1. And so on, these are within the margin of error, but we're seeing a neck and neck race right now in a red state. So you have a Democrat that's he's able to challenge Husted. And so we can realistically say that we could see a flip. We could see Ohio flip blue. And so what do you guys think about this race? Let me know in the comments below. Let me know where you're watching from as well, because I like to know where you guys are watching from. And if you're in Ohio, definitely comment down below. Give me your opinion, what you think. And so that's all I have for this video. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and remember, stay informed, stay engaged, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye. So that's all we have for this video. Make sure if you guys want to send me an email, you can do that, david@thetecshow.com. Like the video, subscribe for more, and check out these videos over here for some more great content. Talk to you later. Bye.